So, be switching over in a couple seconds here. Alright, we should be live.
Okay.
So, if you guys are ready, you can just give me a countdown.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this is a bit awkward, but I'm not the runner. The runner's mic is not working on OBS, but I'm the record holder for this game, so that kind of works out. This is Banjo Kazooie Grunty's Revenge for the Game Boy Advance. I've never done commentary before. I don't know if I should explain the story. Maybe. Right now he's in Spiral Mountain. He got a Jinjo. That's good. 5 Jinjos equals a Jiggy. You know, Banjo Kazooie rules, not Tooie, where there's 9 families. Like, that's crazy. Nah. The game takes place in between Kazooie and Tooie. And it also takes place in the past, before Kazooie. And it also came out after Tooie. So it's all over the place, really. This is Bozai, and he's Bottle's ancestor. And basically, Kazooie has been stolen by Grunty and taken back in time so that we never meet Kazooie. And now Mumbo sent Banjo back in time to save Kazooie. And it doesn't make sense, but the game is good. It's a 2D isometric platformer, and it does a pretty good job of... It's one of the best Game Boy Advance games, I think. It controls really well, the movement's very good. Casually, you might have some trouble with the camera, like not knowing at what height platforms are at sometimes, but that's not really a problem for running it. So Kazooie's been taken to the second... Getting... climbing's fun because it's fun. It sounds hilarious. And there's also these mini games where there's this kind of weird 3D perspective, but it looks pretty good for the Game Boy Advance. So we just saved all our eggs. There's a... oh, okay, never mind. Pretty cool damage boost here when you get damage boosted rightwards. There we go. To kind of grab that Jiggy, get flung rightwards into the next area way faster than attacking the tendrils, because right now our only attack is the Pack Whack, which makes us stand still. So we don't want to use that ever. But we're about to learn Roll, which is a much better attack, and also the fastest method of movement we will have right now. And that leads to roll jumping, which is pretty difficult to do well, because you only keep your speed from the roll if you go in a straight line, so when you jump, you keep the speed of the roll. But if you change direction, you'll lose it. So you kind of do these short hops and then change direction when you land. And it's pretty fun. Talon Trot later on kind of nullifies it though, because Talon Trot's faster. The Klungo fights are pretty simple. He gets more complicated each time you fight him. More potions, they fly faster, etc. But it's just, he throws 3, he moves, he throws 3, he's vulnerable. There's a death warp after this, so it's good to leave this fight at low health. I don't know if I'm explaining too much. There's also a thing in this game where the first time you collect Bazai stop game 6 different types of honeycombs, like he just did for the Mumbo token. So you don't want to collect a honeycomb until the Klungo fight, because if you collect it in the Klungo fight, he doesn't interrupt you. So that's a good way to skip that cutscene ever happening. Oh wow, a triple catch. There's 3 rows of shield. The power of your cast. And he got 3 in one shot, which is really good, although then he totally missed a double, so yeah. Like anything above 20 is good, so of course he gets a 19, so anything above 20 seconds left. That's one of the more intensive minigames. Like, you can lose a lot of time there if you miss your shots. Other ones like the slide are just auto-scrollers. Yeah, so after this long... There's no good way back up, so this is the best part in the run to do a death warp, and right there you get knocked back into a note as you're dying, which I love that kind of thing. Post-death, like, item collection. That's actually the only death warp in the run, because when you die, you spawn at the entrance of the room you're in, and there's not really any other place where it's actually useful to die, unlike in Banjo Tooie, which like death warps constantly because it sends you back to where you entered the world. If death warps were like that in this game, there'd probably be some interesting routing. But on the bright side, dying has almost no penalty, so that's good, especially for a marathon. Oh, and I should probably mention we've transformed to, Mumbo's got transformed. The rat's small, it can bite ropes, and it moves really fast. It's actually faster than but unfortunately, where you can use him is pretty limited, so he just does what he has to do. But he's a good way to get some of the notes, like, around the level that would take a lot longer for Banjo to walk to. Like, he kind of cleans up. Well, that's a good question. That's the most powerful objects in the universe. No one really knows. Like, why do these sheep have Jiggy? What happened? I don't know. No one knows. And like, one thing I think is silly is in Banjo action and put them into a puzzle, but then in Tooie, like the Jiggies just kind of let you do a puzzle, and then in this game, the Jiggies just let you stand on a switch. Like you don't actually put them in. You never put a puzzle piece in a puzzle. Like that's kind of silly. The same goes for nuts and bolts, so they don't get off on that either. There's no puzzles in nuts and bolts. Kind of lost the purpose of them being jigsaw pieces. I don't know. There's another good damage boost here if you miss. Okay, you got it. That Jinjo is like surrounded by fire, and you're supposed to use ice eggs to get rid of the fire, but we're not gonna have ice eggs for like 40 minutes, so we kind of want to get that Jinjo while we're here. So now we're entering the second level, and we've got to save Kazooie in the past. A little bit more about the story. So it takes place during Grunty being trapped under the rock, like the 2 years between Kazooie and Tooie. And Klungo has made a mecha suit for Grunty. And so her soul, like her ghost, is now in that mecha suit. And the mecha suit can travel through time because, I don't know, time travel's like kind of a silly plot. And then Mumbo sends you back in time. Like Mumbo can revive the dead. He can time travel. What can he not do? Like, wow. He's doing pretty good with the roll jumping here. It's definitely harder than it looked. Probably. It takes some getting used to kind of get the rhythm of rolling and jumping. You have to. How long do I want to let the roll go, and how short do I want my jump to be? Like you really have to have a plan for what input you're doing. This boss is fun. Grunty chases you and will stop when she reaches where you were when she started her charge. So if you hug this bottom wall, you can make her charges instant. Because like she goes to where you were. And the intention is like you're supposed to kind of bounce her between the left and right walls. She chases you until she hits a wall, but the bottom wall makes it so she just stops when she reaches where you were. And then she just tries to fall on top of you, and you can see here that it's not very effective. And then he finishes the fight with a pack whack, and like the damage you do happens before she would have hit you, so the only boss that's scary is the final boss, really. The other bosses are kind of pathetic. Well, Klungo 3 is hard, but Klungo 3 is not in any percent. We have Kazooie now, so that's good. more importantly, she can Talon Trot, because we all know that's what Kazooie's really for. But first, we have to free some captured Breagle. Steal of this time, and the rat can break them free. And this part's fun because the enemies, they're not RNG, they move. They start at a set position when you enter there, and they move in that pattern, even when they're off screen. So there's no RNG in where they're at, it just depends on how long you've been in the area. If these guys' positions were RNG, it would be way harder, but as you saw there as he was exiting, like the Gruntling was perfectly positioned to just slip by him, and he always will be, if you are consistent in that room. Most of the other enemy positions are RNG, and there's some spots where they can like hit you out of a cutscene, which are kind of really rude. Another thing is the enemies do 2 damage here, and you only have 4 health, and you don't get any health upgrades in any percent. So you basically have 2 HP starting in level 2. Like, it's kind of insane that the level 2 enemies do 2 damage, but it's what it is. And here's Talon Trot, so if you don't like Kazooie, oh well, they're here. Personally, I love Kazooie noises, so no complaints. And so here's another slide, and he has to collect 20. Luckily, the worms are always... So you'd have to be really bad to lose that. There's more than enough worms, and it's just a set pattern you go on. A nice little flip there to land on this platform to start this little event. We have to shoot a pirate, like a ghost pirate, to take his treasure. And it's a nice little, like, 3D, over-the-shoulder kind of thing. I don't know how to describe it. But, like, they did a good job with the mini-games of, like, making them unique experiences. Like, the slides are a cool little 3D thing, and this aiming reticle, aiming eggs and shooting them into the background is also pretty cool. That Gruntling's like always in the way, it's awful. Nice blind jump there to a Jinjo. You want to minimize swimming as much as possible, which he didn't do by just walking into the water. But swimming is pretty much the slowest movement you can possibly do. So that's to be avoided, usually. So already 2 levels done. There's only 5 levels in this game, plus Spiral Mountain, which has a bit more content to it than it does in Kazooie or Tooie. Like, it also has 10 G's and 100 notes. Oh no. You got yum-yummed. Is having 1 health, is that bad? Oh yeah, okay, you grab the honeycomb. That's probably a good idea. Health can be pretty tight. It's good to have 2 health, or it's good to have a hit that you can take, because sometimes in a lot of spots there are spots where just a gruntling could be sitting on top of a note, and it will be faster to just take the hit and walk through him than to defeat him and get out of Talon Trot and re-enter Talon Trot and all that. Luckily, you get health refills for learning moves, so that helps a lot with health management. And also for transforming. And here we're opening 2 levels. We have just enough jiggies, either collecting and 24 jiggies, so this can cut out a trip to Jiggy Wiggy. And one of the most common mistakes to make is forgetting to open the 2nd level. And the other most common mistake is probably forgetting the Bill Drill Jiggy after the 3rd level. And the next level definitely steps up difficulty. The game does have a good difficulty. It kind of gets too hard, but since there's almost no penalty for death, it doesn't really feel unfair. But this level is just poison water everywhere. Like, everything is surrounded by poison water. If you touch it, you lose 1 health. And you're swimming, so you might have difficulty getting to land, and yeah. We just learned the Rat-a-tat-rap, and that's going to be used for a nice little skip here. With a Talon Trot jump and a Rat-a-tat-rap, you can get some serious distance, like unintended amounts of horizontal distance. So this was supposed to be a long, slow battery egg thing, but instead you just do a long jump from a platform to the Jiggy with the Rat-a-tat-rap. We still have to learn battery eggs though to enter Klungo. And they also save time on a Jiggy later. But yeah, all these gruntlings are doing 2 damage, so it can be very scary if you have only 2 health left. Especially in these narrow hallways of this house, they can easily be in your way. Klungo 2 is pretty much the same, except it goes... But that doesn't be hitting as soon as possible. So it shouldn't matter if you can't see where he goes off to, unless you're bad and miss the Rat-a-tat-rap. If you go for it too early, you'll like bounce off his shield, and that can be bad. And these boss fights are basically auto-scrollers, except that you want him to end the fight as close to the exit pad as possible, because he has to walk to the exit pad. And you also want to end on the exit pad, so that kind of works out. So that's the only thing that really matters, is ending the fight on the exit pad, which he did a very good job of doing there. Oh, now he only has 2 health though. Ooh. Scary. Yeah, there's a lot of close calls, like all throughout this run when you only have 4 health. But here's a move, so back up to 2. Build. Pretty useless as an attack. It's only used on these cracked parts of the ground to shake things out of objects. Ooh, that was a really good blind jump on there. You kind of just roll off the edge. Oh wow, you got the like you hit the patch and then got knocked back by the enemy. That's actually really good. And then this is a little training regimen thing where you just shoot like one of each color of Gruntling. And the battery eggs help with that. I think Smasher is the one that realized battery eggs would save time there. We used to just rat-a-tat-rap all the enemies. Like, that's the only time you ever use eggs to attack something. So it's just not something I like had in my mind as an option. Now we have the second transformation. Candle. Lights up dark areas, of which there's like only 2, but you know. And the fastest movement for this is A, but you can't like interrupt it. So it's kind of tricky to use it compared to the roll where you can just jump out of it. The somersault can't be interrupted. And this is a little puzzle where you have to look at the wall for what candles to light. Luckily the pattern is not RNG, so you don't have to look at the walls if you already know which candles to light for each shape. Yeah, I like that exit there, like down perfectly gets you into like the distance is perfect for it. So coming up here in this area, you take damage over time. Like there's a timer, and when the timer goes off, you'll take damage. And if you take damage in the air, you get damage boosted from it. So there's a really good strat here where, boom, you damage boost across the logs to get that Jiggy. And that works because when you get the 5th Jinjo, it resets the timer, so it's really consistent after getting the 5th Jinjo to have the damage boost perfectly timed to boost you for that Jiggy. And then here's another fishing game, and this time you have to avoid any snippets that show up, but you wouldn't know it looking at his screen because none of them. It's kind of RNG if the fish show up, and that was like really good RNG for them. Lots of doubles, lots of fast throws. And he got the Bill Drill Jiggy. I didn't even remember it, but he remembered. That's good. You have to go down there to get it, and it's like it's a very weird place to go after exiting a level. Oh, now we're feeding eggs to a dolphin. I don't know why the dolphin eats eggs, but he really likes getting covered in eggs. He doesn't even eat them. He just gets like pummeled with them. And this isn't RNG. If this was RNG, that would be hellish. It'd be like whack-a-mole. But he goes in a set patterns, like up, left, up, right, etc. That really should have been RNG. It seems weird that it's not, but I'm grateful for it. You can kind of fire your eggs ahead of time, since it's not random. And then Spiller's Harbor here has the best music, for sure. This is like the one song that people know from this game. I think the other stages have good music too, but this stage really stands out. And again, there's huge pools of poison water, but we do get an octopus transformation to go through that, so that's good. There's a nice note nest hidden behind that Jinjo statue, which is literally impossible to see a single pixel of. And that's where the game, that's kind of poor design and kind of an abuse of its camera angle, but there's not too much of that. There's only a couple spots where there's like hidden notes. So we got an ice cream for one of this poop blobs kids. I don't know what it's supposed to be other than that. They're called squitters, I think, aren't they? I forget what they're called. But squitters, kind of like the squits is like, you know, that Cow and Conquer had the squits, so I don't know. But we reunited their family, got Jiggy. Now we making a Jiggy appear out of thin air. I don't know how to commentate Banjo games, you know, there's just a bunch of Jiggies. Yeah. You did really good in that whole Spillerston area. Like, that area is pretty hard, especially with the bees and the gruntlings doing 2 damage. Oh, and you have exactly 410 notes. How great is that? That's a pretty hard note requirement to hit. Now we have ice eggs, which we need to enter the Grunty fight. And this fight is pretty difficult, but pretty cool. And it uses the same perspective from the pirate ship. And Grunty has 5 weak spots here, or no, 6 weak spots, I'm dumb. And they each take 3 hits. And her bouncing is random, so it can be hard because you want to hit where she will be, but you don't always know where she will be. And midway she starts flying, which kind of makes it even harder. And if you run out of eggs, you're screwed. But if you have a good amount of eggs, you can just spam them twice at a time, and it goes pretty well. Like, that was a really good fight, actually. That was better than I usually do when I was running this. And that gave us another Mumbo token to transform into the octopus. We'll be getting a few Jiggies that are in the oil the oily. And this is the most adorable and effects. Shoots. It's just really cute. Yes, this part has like a fast. You actually move, which can be kind of a detriment to surviving. But it looks like he practiced that plenty because he did that really smoothly. And here you do a Mumbo Warp. Basically, if you try to go to a place where a transformation isn't allowed to be, it'll warp you to Mumbo's hut after a few seconds. He did it kind of bad there, no offense. But if you do it perfectly, it saves a little time over just walking to Mumbo normally. And now all we have left is Jiggy. It wasn't in the route improvement that I found. This is basically a Jiggy that's supposed to take like 5 different switch steps to do. Like there's a bunch of pads that you have to turn on in succession. But with Rat-a-Tat wraps, with the distance that you get from them, you're able to do it with just one switch. Skipping most of the intended way to do that. There's some pretty crazy Rat-a-Tat wraps coming up right here, actually. Into this lava area, which is pretty scary. And you're supposed to have Wonder Wing on for that entire Devils and TNT boxes, but we ain't got time for Wonder Wing. So we hop around the platforms where it's safe and just avoid all of that. It's one of the scariest parts, because if you're not in the right position, you'll get hit by the enemies. If you jump too late, you'll fall into the lava and take 3 damage. Lava does 3 damage, which is a lot. You have 4 health, you know. So that's one of the scariest little sections of movement. Well, Freezing Furnace has plenty of scary sections too, actually. Hell, Freezing Furnace has green slime that does. If you fall, you're dead. And there's like a blind jump over green slime to a small island platform. Luckily, it's consistent, but it is pretty scary still. Like every time you do it, it's like, if I fall, I'm losing a lot of time. Oh man, except the talon, like when you rat-tat rap on ice, it's beautiful. But you messed it up. That's okay though, because you did good in the pre-Grunty Industries stuff. Yeah, this is like Blind Jump City, basically. Oh, you hop over that guy, huh? I always like go around him. You hop over the Champa. Right here, that's the blind jump over green goo. But luckily you can just hold A, do your max length jump, and you'll always hit the platform, pretty much. And we're collecting 7 gold pieces to merge into a Jiggy, basically. And now it's time for the spelling bee. And if he messes up, it'll be really funny. This is the one part where it's super funny if you fail. Because it's like you can't spell Gruntilda. Nah, he did good. One little small optimization there is you hit the A from below, and then that reduces the length of time it takes for the camera to pan over to the Jiggy, because the Jiggy spawns below the A. Like, those kinds of small optimizations are, I think, pretty cool. I like the camera pan distance reduction kind of stuff. I think I found that when I was tassing this. It's a nice little time saver for real time too. Oh, and that's a great blind jump there to the Jiggy switch. Man, I forgot how many blind jumps are in this game. Like, playing this casually would be a mess. Well, I mean, you wouldn't do the blind jumps, they're optional, but it's pretty crazy. You just have to have faith you're doing the right input. This is another fishing game. Sorry, Shizio. This time they're all in the shadows, but the fish move in like a sporadic pattern, like they go slow and then they go fast for a bit, while the snippets never change speed. So that's how you can tell the difference. Although it's a bit hard on the back row to tell the difference, because they all look slow on the back row. Oh, ouch. Oh god, you're out of time. Oh my god! I've never seen 1 second left on that. Oh my god. That's terrifying. And then this is the final move, Fire Egg, which is actually optional, but it's there's a couple. There's a tricky jump and there's an RNG based damage knockback that you have to do to skip fire eggs. So probably not good for a marathon. I forgot how fast this game is. It's feeling like it's just flying by. Like, it really keeps going, you know, there's not really any long breaks. Like, it's a good, steady, short length, like 45-ish minute runs are my favorite time of run. Unlike Tui, which is like 2 hours of gameplay and 1 hour of cutscenes. Oh, you didn't get it. How sad. That was the tricky jump that is part of skipping fire eggs. Alright, so here we're going to do a damage boost using firing an egg. I found this when I was tassing. Basically, if an egg hits an enemy and you aren't in egg firing mode, you'll get knocked backwards as if you had hit them. Like, if you were in egg firing mode, you wouldn't get knocked back, but if you're out of it, you get knocked back. And by getting knocked back at the peak of a flat flip, you can get knocked back onto the platform that sends you to the next phase, because this is a 3-phase fight. And at the end of the current phase, he enables a shock spring pad for you to get to the next phase. But with a knockback, you can just ignore the fight. And you can see the health bar at the top still has Gruntilda's 9 HP on top of Klungo's HP. That's like a lingering side effect. It's pretty funny. And you can do the same egg knockback that you did on Gruntilda. You can do that on Klungo as well. But Klungo's movement is random, so you need him to stop near the bottom of the screen. And that's completely random. And then even then you have to shoot an egg and backflip carefully. And another thing about this ending is that it's totally random if you get mini-games on this quiz, which he just got on the last possible question. That's hilarious. You have 7 questions to answer, and any of them could be a mini-game, like this fishing mini-game. And that's substantially faster, substantially slower than just answering a question like, what is the sound? Where is this? Who is this? Those are a lot faster than a minigame. So it's totally random if you just lose 30 seconds at the end of the run, or lose a minute, lose 2 minutes. It's fantastic. Not really. But now he's on the final boss, which is good. And it's Gruntilda, and she has like 6 different attacks. Right now she's just charging at him, as she's done a few times before. And when you hit the suit, her ghost flies out, and you have to hit the ghost. Now she's hopping around like crazy. You want Gruntilda to land near the center of the arena, because then her ghost takes less time to fly out and fly back into the... Yeah, it really does feel that way. Furnace Fun's RNG isn't that bad anymore with the calculator and with skipping most of it, but the Gruntilda questions are still just dickish. And then Tui has screen questions, which just randomly wastes some seconds, but it matters less in that because each one loses less time. It's a longer one. In this game, if you want record, you have to get 0 minigames, and the odds of that are maybe like 15 to 20%. 10 to 15%. I don't know the odds, but it's pretty low. Luckily, the rest of the game is really consistent. Like, it's pretty good movement. There's not really any glitches. It's just consistent movement and not too much RNG. So it's pretty fun to do runs and just get to the end, pray for 0 minigames. It's not too bad. Just not too many run killers. And time, apparently. He said time. There's still...
Yeah, we got it.
There
we got it.
Yay.
Alright, you have 48-11.
48-11. That's good. Yeah, his PB is 4750. So if he got 0 minigames, that would have been PB. So I'd call that a PB. Like, just, discount the RNG part, just chop it off. Was it good commentary? Oh, thank you. I tried. I've never really
thanks
commentated.
for the run, and thanks for the commentary. Got anything else you guys want to say?
And be sure to follow g0gotbc for hopefully his voice, not mine.
Alright, well I guess we'll transition over, and up next we got a DK Jungle Beat race, I think. Yeah.
Does that use the bongos?
It does use the bongos, it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
fun.
This is
Generally.